My peoples. Tank Davis versus Jake Paul in November. We got to talk about it. Y'all already know what it is. I'm Jay Smith. This is Box Center, your favorite boxers, favorite boxing show. We got to talk about it, my people. We have to talk about this. So, we already know that Tank Davis is going to do the rematch with Lamont Roach. And, many of us were hoping after that rematch, if Tank Davis was able to get past Lamont Roach, that we will see him fight, somebody like Shakur Stevenson, or even move up and maybe challenge Devin Haney or Teofimo Lopez. We want to see those fights. But it looks like Tank Davis has something different planned out. And Jake Paul had already talked about it, and people thought he was capping when Jake Paul said that he had already spoke with Tank. And the plan was, had he beaten Lamar Roach, they would have went on and fought each other. But Lamar Roach messed up their plans with his performance, and that's why we're getting a rematch. I mean, I don't like the idea of Tank Davis facing Jake Paul at all. It's almost like a circus show type of fight where, come on, Tank Davis fights at 135. He's fought at 140. What is Jake Paul weighing these days? So it's like, I know that they're obviously going to meet up at some type of catch weight, but still, man, that's not a fight. That's not a real fight. And it's not only that. You have a guy like Jake Paul who's a social media guy, and you're getting in there with a world champion that fights like 4 or 5 divisions below where you're at. Like, come on, man. Come on. Number one, Jake Paul doesn't even deserve to be fighting a champion. I understand this is about a business. So, you know what? I would say make that thing an exhibition fight. That shouldn't even be a real fight. Make it an exhibition and get your money. But a real fight that's going to go in the box rec, that's a circus show. I don't, I don't support that fight whatsoever. And for the people that say that I'm hating on Jake Paul, come on, man. I'm not hating on Jake Paul. But Jake Paul and Tank Davis, that's crazy. That's crazy. All the fighters that want the opportunity to fight Tank, and he's gonna fight Jake Paul. Who supported that? Do y'all support Tank Davis versus Jake Paul? Because I'm telling you, I find that to be crazy work. Crazy work. But, it's Eddie Hearn already said out his own mouth that Tank Davis is planning on fighting Jake Paul in November. And if he's saying it, I'm pretty sure that's a done deal. They already, got verbal agreements in place, and contracts are going to be signed. And I'm assuming this is all depending on Tank Davis versus Lamar Roach, because I don't know if Tank Davis loses to Lamar Roach, which is a possibility. Don't get it twisted. Lamar Roach may actually beat Tank Davis. And if that happens, then I don't know if he's still going to fight Jake Paul in November. Simply because he was supposed to fight Jake Paul now. And the only reason that didn't happen is because of what happened with Lamar Roach. That was a draw. So I'm guessing, if Lamar Roach is able to beat Tank Davis outright, a win on the scorecards, then I don't know if he's going to fight Jake Paul afterwards. So I think Tank Davis is looking a little bit too far ahead to have already some type of agreement with Jake Paul. But let's see how it plays out, man. Look, Tank Davis, he has very loyal fans. I'm pretty sure Tank Davis fans are going to support it. I've already had a couple of hardcore Tank Davis fans tell me, he should fight Jake Paul because he's going to get the bag and he's going to make a lot of money. So, I guess, his fans are going to support it, but I don't think the boxing community overall is going to be with it. Like, come on, man. Jake Paul is 0-1 versus professional fighters. Tommy Fury beat him. And Jake Paul's already talking about fighting AJ And I don't know who else he wants to one day fight Canelo too. It's like, and it's funny because I think that it could actually end up happening. You know, if he fights Tank Davis, I'm talking about Jake Paul, I could see him down the line actually getting a fight with Canelo. That's crazy. Maybe they just do an exhibition. That's what I think people should do with Jake Paul. Do exhibitions. Don't fight this guy for real, man. Don't put this guy on your box, Rec. Or I beat Jake Paul. JJ's in the house. Hello, Jay Smith. Back to California. What's the deal, my brother? Glad that you was able to enjoy Idaho. Back home it is. Let's get it. Yo, we got a great weekend of boxing coming up. I just wanted to kick this thing off where, the whole situation with Jake Paul and Tank Davis. It's like, wow, we really gonna get that fight? We all want to see Tank Davis fight Shakur Stevenson. We want to see him fight Teofimo Lopez. We want to see him fight Devin Haney. We're gonna get Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. I'm disappointed. I gotta be honest with y'all, my peoples. I'm disappointed. That's not a fight that I wanted to see. That's not a fight anybody was calling for. That's one of those, you know what? F the fans, let me make my money. That's it. That's what that fight is about. But, the topic of conversation of where is Tank Davis gonna be as far as, one of the best fighters of this era is gonna be interesting. Because skills wise, we know what Tank Davis is able to do. We know the counter punching ability. We know the power. We know, the way he's able to do inside the ring. The way that he could finish his opponent. We know all that. But where are we gonna rank Tank Davis when it's time to say, okay, who has the better resume? How good is Tank Davis's resume going to be when compared to Devin's, Teofimo's, Shakur's resume? JJ said Friday, Saturday, and Sunday fights. Everyone hit the like button. Hell yeah, my brother. We're gonna get some action. We're gonna get some real good action. And by the way, man, Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. What a fight, my people. What a heck of a fight, man. From the first bell to the very last, you gotta respect Conor Benn. You gotta, you could see in that fight why he's the destroyer. He would not be denied. Yeah, he took a L, but you could see he would not be denied. He would just keep coming forward, letting them hands go. And I could tell you, my peoples, when a fighter, because I had somebody telling me yesterday that Conor Benn, because that usually happens when somebody loses, right? I had somebody yesterday telling me that Conor Benn is average. That he's not all that. And I just got to tell people when it comes to that fight, I want you to think about this. When you're a lot shorter than your opponent, it takes a certain level of skills for you to be able to get on the inside and catch them with good shots. Not long shots, not the jab and a long right hand that doesn't land flush. I'm talking about get on the inside and catch them with big left hooks and right hands. It takes a certain skill level to do that. And Conor Benn showed it. You have to see how that fight played out. Conor Benn was in Chris Eubank Jr.'s face all night long. And what makes this fight crazy is that you will see Conor Benn eat a monster shot. Boom! And right away retaliate with the 1-2 and the hook and the right and this fight was crazy. This fight was crazy. Two warriors. Same thing with Chris Eubank Jr. At times you will see him eat a monster shot, boom, and come right back, boom, and land his own. JJ's in the house. Did you hear that Fernando Robert and Mikey and Big G just got into the Boxing Hall of Fame? Oh, I did not know that, my brother. Did not know that. Fernando Vargas. You talking about Fernando Vargas? Fernando, Robert, and Mikey Garcia. Are you talking about Fernando Vargas, my brother? And I'm guessing Robert and Mikey Garcia are brothers, right? And who's Big G? Who's Big G, my brother? Damn, that's fire though, man. That's fire. And I tell you what, Fernando Vargas deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and Robert and Mikey Garcia as well. Salute to all three of them. Congratulations, bro. Oh, the dad. Okay, yo, that's fire. That's fire to see them get in the Hall of Fame. You know, that's the ultimate goal. That's where you want to end up at. Takur, hi. What's up, Takur? But man, I gotta tell you, look, Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. That was an instant classic. That's the type of fight that is going down in history as one of the best, most action-packed fights in UK history. You know, John Parham, salute my brother. But again, my peoples, I digressed. Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. That was a heck of a fight. That was an instant classic. But Tank Davis and Jake Paul in November, is that a fight y'all want to see? Y'all tell me. You want to see Tank Davis fight Jake Paul? Tell me, my peoples. Underrated Will, Super Chat, and Jay Smith. What's the deal, underrated Will? JJ said that has Robert and Mikey dad is Big G, the trainer. Okay, got you, my brother. I thought Robert Garcia was Mikey's brother. Is it Robert Garcia, Mikey Garcia's brother? If I'm not mistaken. Big G is the father. Is that somebody else? A third person? But again, my peoples, Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr. Oh, okay, got it. Raw Dog. What's the deal, Raw Dog? Raw Dog, so you want to see Jake Paul and Tank Davis fight each other? I don't know, man. I don't know. Jake Paul and Tank Davis. I don't think anybody was calling for that fight, man. I don't think that's the fight that we wanted for Tank Davis, man. I think for Tank Davis, we wanted Shakur Stevenson or Teofimo or Devin, you know, one of those guys that we feel like, oh, that's going to be a tough fight. That's going to be an interesting fight. A lot of people feel like one or the other of those guys could beat Tank. But Jake Paul, this is kind of like a circus show type of fight where, you know, Jake Paul fought, last time he fought, what he was weighing, 180 something, 200, I don't know. And Tank Davis fights at 135. They're going to meet at some type of catch weight. That should be an exhibition. To be honest, that shouldn't even be a real fight. That's going to go in your resume, or I beat Jake Paul. JJ's in the house. Yes, but Big G is the father that trained Vargas and Garcia. Okay, got you, brother. Got you. So I don't know, man. I don't like the idea of Jake Paul getting in the ring with Tank Davis. It's like y'all legitimizing him as a fighter by doing that. And I understand it's about the money. I understand if Tank Davis is going to fight Jake Paul, he's going to make a lot of money doing it, and that's why he'll do it. But it's like, damn, man. This guy is 0-1 versus professional boxers. 0-1. And that was Tommy Fury that beat him. And you're going to get in the ring with Tank Davis. Possibly get in the ring with Anthony Joshua. Down the line, might even get in the ring with Canelo. That's crazy work. Like, what people are going to learn through Jake Paul is that you don't even need to be a good fighter to get in there with the best of them. You just got to be real popular. If you grow your popularity, you'll be able to fight anybody. World champions. That's crazy. That's crazy work. John Parham. As a Tank fan, if he fights Jake before Shakur, I can mess with him no more. I tell you, my brother, that, you know, and it looks like he'll fight Jake Paul without fighting Shakur, because Lamar Roach, his fight with Lamar Roach, they don't have a date yet for that fight, but that was pushed. It's not going to be in June. It's going to be after June. So if he's planning on fighting Jake Paul in November. Between fighting Lamar Roach and fighting Jake Paul, I don't think he's going to fight anybody else. JJ's in the house. I will remember the Tank when he retires, always during duck season. Psst. John Parham, AJ and Jake make more sense. Okay, AJ and Jake Paul make more sense. You're right because they're both big guys. But even still, you know, thinking about AJ getting in the ring with Jake Paul, it feels like, you know what, AJ gave up. He already knows he's not going to be a champion. He already knows he's not going to beat any of the top guys. Well, let me make some money with Jake Paul. That's what that looks like. Philly Talk TV. Hey, what's up, brother? I know this is not the topic, but what's your thoughts on Abdullah Mason? Abdullah Mason he a special fighter, bro. Abdullah Mason is gonna be a world champion. He's gonna do big things, and in a few years, he's gonna be one of the main players in boxing. He's gonna be one of those guys who's, there's the face of boxing, but there's always 5, 6 fighters who they're the top dogs in boxing. Abdullah Mason is gonna be one of those special fighter. John Parham, Mason a dog, a future world champion. That's a fact. That's a fact. Dry Turkey. Is this 100% confirmed? Sup. So, Dry Turkey, this is not 100% confirmed, but I do feel like it's going to happen for 2 reasons. Number one, Jake Paul came out and said that before Tank fought Lamar Roach, they had already agreed that Tank was going to fight him after. In fact, he was backstage with Tank Davis, in the dressing room with Tank Davis, and he was there at the fight. He was going to climb the ring and everything. But we saw that Lamar Roach messed up the bag for them. He messed up their plans with that draw. That should have been a victory for Lamar Roach, by the way. Let me slide that in there. So the plan is that he's going to fight the rematch with Lamar Roach and then fight Jake Paul in November. Eddie Hearn said it. Eddie Hearn was like, yo, Tank is going to fight Jake in November. So I think that is actually going to happen. Philly Talk TV. That's my thoughts also, John. Yes, he's on his way to being great. Yeah. Abdullah Mason, he a very, very special fighter. And I like the way that they moving him. He's only 21. He just turned 21 years old. There's no need to rush him. There's no need to put him in there. I remember when that fake post was out there about supposedly Andy Cruz calling him out. And there were already people saying, yeah, Abdullah Mason, go fight Andy Cruz. Go fight Andy Cruz. There's no need for that. At 21 years old, there's no need to rush you versus a seasoned champion like that. No need. Keep trusting the process. Keep developing Abdullah Mason. And he's headed for greatness. That's how I see it. Abdullah Mason is just too good, too sharp. But he's still young. He still need more experience. There's steps that you have to take. Don't go rushing him and thinking, because fighters are like that. They see a fighter that's real good, and they're like, yeah, put him in there against Shakur, and put him in there against Tank, and put him. No. It doesn't work that way. You still got to develop him. He's a young kid. There's still some little things that he has to work on. But Abdullah Mason is going to be a great fighter. Dry Turkey, I wonder what way. Jake was pushing 230 last fight. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a catch weight. Jake Paul, Tank Davis is going to have to be a catch weight. Tank Davis can't go that far up. Jake Paul definitely can't go that far down. So I'm guessing they're going to have a catch weight, maybe in the 160s, maybe in the 170s. Who knows? But I believe that Tank Davis versus Lamar Roach should just be an exhibition fight. Don't make that a real fight, man. It's a circus show. It's a circus show. You're talking about a guy who basically a heavyweight versus a 135 pounder. What are we doing? And you know what? And I'm telling you, that's my perception of this, but you're going to see it materialize going forward. Because there's other YouTubers, KSI, Soap Poppy, and other YouTubers that are boxing. But Jake Paul showed people one thing. If he fights Tank Davis, or if he fights Anthony Joshua, or if he gets a fight with Canelo, Jake Paul is going to show the world that you don't need to be a world championship caliber boxer to get the opportunity to fight a world champion. You just need to be popular enough. If you're popular, you can get a fight with a world champion. And I don't like that message. I don't like, what that says. Raw dog. Jake's fighting Chavez Jr. He's fighting Chavez Jr. next. But with Tank Davis, they're planning that for November. JJ's in the house. Funny that Tank can go up weight to fight Jake Paul and no one else. I was saying that the other day, my brother. I was saying that to Hash Bass, the biggest tankomaniac in this channel. Say, oh, so Tank Davis could go all the way up and fight Jake Paul, but he can't move up to fight Teofimo. He can't move up to fight Devin Haney. Ain't that something? John Parham, you said Tank versus Roach. No, Tank is going to be fighting Roach next. Tank is going to be fighting Roach next. That rematch, we don't have the date for the Tank versus Roach rematch, but we know it's happening next. And then apparently Tank Davis versus Jake Paul in November. You know, Jake Paul said he was fighting Tank Davis. Now we have Eddie Hearn say that they're fighting in November. It looks like it's going down. John Parham says they're planning it. That tells you Jake beating Chavez. I'm going to tell you what, man. I had Jake beating Chavez Jr. anyways. Like, Chavez Jr., my brother, at this point, no disrespect, man, but he's a washed-up cokehead. And I'm sorry to put it in those harsh words, but come on now. Chavez Jr., his personal life is out of order. And right now, to me, this looks like he just need a check. It's like, yo, I'm going to get a check with this guy. Hell yeah. And back to partying. Like, that's what I see. I don't see, and I told people, I had already multiple people tell me, yo, Jake Paul, he's going to fight a real boxer. This guy's going to get him. Chavez Jr. is going to do him in. It's like, bro, Chavez Jr., 39 years old. He's about to be 40. Chavez Jr. is about to be 40 years old. Inactivity, drugs, partying. This guy don't even remember when's the last time that he was in the gym, actually sparring and working out for real. So I feel like Jake Paul's going to wash him. Jake Paul's going to be bigger, stronger, and tougher, everything. Hash Bass, you said it yourself, Jay Smith. Jake isn't a real fighter, but Jake is capping. All right, he's not a real fighter and he's capping, but it looks like Tank Davis is going to fight him in November. You tell me how you're going to support that, Hash Bass, since you support everything Tank Davis does, and you defend Tank Davis always. You said Tank Davis couldn't fight Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney because they fight at a higher division, and you're going to fight Jake Paul. Jake Paul was over 200 pounds in his last fight, and Tank Davis going to fight. Tank Davis could move up to fight Jake Paul. How you going to support that, Hash Bass? You tell me. JJ's in the house. Sounds like WrestleMania. Yeah, it's a circus show. Tank Davis versus Jake Paul is a circus show. Raw Dog. Chavez fought Canelo 8 years ago. You got it, my brother. He got beat by Canelo, by the way, but that was 8 years ago, man. Chavez Jr. is done. He's done. Believe it. Hash Bass. I don't believe it, Jay Smith. You don't want to believe it, of course, because you're a tankomaniac. You don't want to believe that he's going to fight a YouTuber. But what happens when he announces it? And you have to believe it. How you going to support that? You're going to say, yeah, that's the right thing to do because it's a business and he's going to make money. You're going to find a way. You're going to become a manager and start acting like a Tank Davis manager, telling me why it's right for him to fight Jake Paul, which is crazy work. Crazy work. Nasty work. Tank Davis can't move up to fight Teofimo. He can't move up to fight Devin Haney. He can move up to fight Jake Paul. Can't move up to fight Boots. That's crazy. To fight a YouTuber? Yes, please. Yes. Oh, my goodness, yo. Raw Dog. What do you think De Los Santos versus Keyshawn Davis? Man, listen. That's going to be a good fight. But Keyshawn Davis is going to win it. De Los Santos has been inactive since he fought Shakur. Not just that he's been inactive, but you've seen Keyshawn Davis. He's been active. putting hands and feet on his opponents. Got momentum on his favor. Won a title recently. Newly crowned champion. Keyshawn Davis gonna put hands on Edwin De Los Santos. And I'm gonna tell you something. Edwin De Los Santos is one of my guys. I like him as a fighter. But I feel like, there's levels to this. Coming off of inactivity, you're not gonna beat Keyshawn Davis. I believe De Los Santos could put up a good fight. Don't get it twisted. I believe that he could make it competitive and have his moments. Win? Nah. I can't see him winning that fight. At all. Dry turkey. To be fair, Canelo was going to take the Jake Paul fight also. I don't think that Canelo was going to take it. Honestly, I think that Canelo, he used Jake Paul as a bargaining chip to get a better deal from Turkey, because remember, Turkey wanted him to fight Bud. But now, with this whole situation with Jake Paul and rumors of a fight with Canelo, that made Turkey give him a 2-fight deal, which is how he's going to fight William Skull first to go for undisputed, and Bud Crawford in September for all the marbles. So I think Canelo at that moment, he used Jake Paul, like basically saying to His Excellency Turkey Al Sheikh, hey, my man, look, I got Jake Paul that I could do business with and make my money, so you gotta make this offer real sweet for me. And it worked out. Or at least that's how I saw it. I don't like the idea of world champions and the most famous fighters in boxing stepping in the ring with Jake Paul. I don't like that idea at all. Because again, we're talking about a guy who's never beaten anyone in boxing other than retired boxers, MMA fighters, retired basketball players, YouTubers. He only fought one active boxer and he lost to him. Lost. So that's why I want to see, okay, where do you go from here? You're going to fight a world champion? You're going to fight one of the guys that's the biggest names in boxing? We're sending the wrong message, because we're saying, look, if you're popular enough, you could get in the ring with one of the best boxers in the world. That's crazy. Hash Bash, Santos got a shot, but Santos too small for Keyshawn. I mean, he's a good fighter, and in boxing anything can happen, but I don't see him beating Keyshawn Davis. JJ's in their house. If Tank fights Jake, I can't take Tank seriously because he has a chance to fight other good fighters and doesn't. Yeah, if he fight Hash Bass, what are you going to say? If Tank fight Jake Paul, what are you going to say? Do you support that if he actually decides to fight Jake Paul? Because, I haven't seen a lot of people be happy about him actually fighting a YouTuber when he could fight real fighters, still not fighting any of the best, about to be 31 years old. What do you feel about him going after Jake Paul if he does? Hello, how long have you been fighting for? So I was an amateur boxer. I don't box now. I just cover boxing, my brother. Dry turkey. I'm not saying I like it. However, do you believe that every fighter would take the Jake Paul payday if they could? Honestly, I believe that most fighters would fight Jake Paul if they had the possibility. Most fighters. Now, the reason I say most is because I believe that there are some who made a certain amount of money and they don't need that fight. They prefer not to. Matter of fact, even Nico Ali Wash. Nico Ali Wash could have got the fight with Jake Paul, and he chose not to. Although I think Jake Paul may have washed him. I honestly thought Jake Paul may have been able to wash Nico Ali, because I've been telling people, Nico Ali, he's decent. He's nowhere near as good as they try to advertise him. Dry turkey. I'm not saying I like it. However, do you believe? Yeah. I believe most fighters will take a fight with Jake Paul because it's going to be a career payday. It's a lot of money. But then again, we're sending that message in boxing that all you need to do is become popular enough and you could get in the ring with the world champions. You could get in the ring with the best of them. That's the thing about other sports. Like, for example, right now there's a guy playing street ball somewhere who could hit 15 3-pointers in a row, who can shoot lights out. He'll never have a chance to play in the NBA just because he could shoot that good. There's a guy playing soccer in these street leagues that could play like crazy. He's never going to play in the MLS. Ever. So, just because you're good doesn't give you the opportunity to play or participate against the best in these other sports. Now in boxing, it's like, okay, so if you're popular enough, you could get in there with the best of them. I don't know. I don't like it. Hash Bass. It's still a challenge for Tank because of the weight and height, but I don't believe that, Jay Smith. Okay, so now you're saying that Jake Paul is a challenge because of the weight and height. So are you supporting that fight, Hash Bass? Is that what you're saying? You support Tank Davis fighting a YouTuber, going up all the weight to fight a YouTuber, but you were saying that he couldn't fight Teofimo and Devin? Like, I don't know how that makes sense. How are you saying it's a challenge, the weight? Like, you're going to support that fight if it happens? And you don't ask for Tank to fight any other best, but you support him fighting a YouTuber? Damn, man. Yo, you Tankomaniacs are ruining the sport of boxing. I will say, it's a fight that we'll tune in to watch. If Jake Paul and Tank Davis fight each other, we'll tune in. Honestly, I don't even know if I may actually boycott that fight. I may boycott that fight and then watch some highlights of it. And I'll watch the highlights. Fuck it. I don't know if I would even, and I would be interested. I would be interested in seeing how it plays out. But at the same time, it's like I'll be like, nah, man, fuck them. I'm boycotting this shit. Hash Bash. No, I don't support Tank versus Jake. But you wanted an answer. Dry Turkey. I know Conor was an MMA fighter, but I really feel that opened the door that 0-0 boxer could get. I mean, in a way you could say that opened the door, but I think that's a little bit different simply because we have to understand that Conor Benn was at least a very accomplished fighter. Even though it's a different sport, but it's a combat sport, he was very accomplished. And for that reason, people felt like he had a chance to beat Mayweather, who was, I think, already 40 years old at that time. 40 or 41, I don't remember. So I think for that reason, some people actually gave Conor McGregor a chance. I didn't. I was like, nah, Floyd Mayweather gonna make it look easy. But still, it's like, come on, man. Jake Paul is like no accomplishments whatsoever to suggest that he should ever be in the ring with a world champion or with one of the best fighters in the game. Dry Turkey. Jake Paul beat MMA fighters in boxing. Yeah, but what are the MMA fighters that he beat in boxing? Washed up MMA fighters. Washed up MMA fighters. He didn't beat nobody in the category where Conor McGregor was when he fought Floyd Mayweather. You got to remember, when Conor McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather, he was the guy in MMA. He was the face of MMA. This guy, Jake Paul, fought guys who have retired from MMA already, who wasn't even active anymore. JJ's in there. The rules are, in that fight, no uppercuts and hitting in the face. Dry Turkey. I don't know that. I was a freak fight by Floyd. You got to be fair. I don't know that was a freak fight. I mean, it was. I felt like that should, look, I felt like Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather should have been an exhibition fight. That shouldn't have been a real fight. That should have been an exhibition, in my opinion. Simply because Conor McGregor had a record of 0-0. Domingo Bonilla. You got to thank the casual fans for these promoters making those kind of fights. Because if it was for us hardcore, they wouldn't generate no real money. That's the reality. That's the reality. And a guy like Jake Paul, the thing about a guy like that is that he has his YouTube following. So like he doesn't need the hardcore boxing fans. He doesn't even need Not just the hardcore boxing fans, the real boxing fans that are maybe not hardcore, that are not following up on everything, but are always watching the fights, are always watching the big fights, are always staying in tune with who are the top guys. Yo, he don't care about them fans because he got his own fan base, and they're gonna support him. They're gonna watch the fights. But I'm telling you, man, Tank Davis versus Jake Paul, that's a disappointment to me. Maybe Tank Davis is gonna fight him, get that bag, and retire from boxing, and never fight any of the best. That may actually happen. Shaggy, my G, happy Monday. What's the deal? What's the deal, my brother? Happy Monday to you too, my brother. We talking about Tank Davis and Jake Paul, man. It may actually go down in November. It may actually go down in November. Eddie Hearn said it. Eddie Hearn said it recently. But after Tank Davis fought Lamar Roach, Jake Paul said it as well. And I remember, I was live when Tank Davis fought Lamar Roach. And I was telling people, like, yo, Jake Paul is there. Look at Jake Paul. And it turns out that the real plan was if Tank Davis beat Lamar Roach, Jake Paul was going to climb the ring and call out Tank Davis, and they was going to fight next. It would have been Tank Davis and Jake Paul fighting in June or July or whenever. But we saw what happened with Lamar Roach, got robbed with that draw, and now we got a rematch on the way. So that's why Tank versus Jake got pushed to November. Apparently, we got to see how it plays out. Because I think if Lamar Roach beats Tank Davis, there ain't going to be no Tank versus Jake in November. We got to see that as well. Domingo Bonilla, Jake Paul got NASCAR fans watching him fight. Formula fans watching him fight. I'm trying to tell you, man, Jake Paul, he got fans that are following him and supporting him. So he don't need the boxing fans to support him. He bringing his own fan base. Dry Turkey. Will that be on Netflix? I wonder. Netflix might become a real player in boxing. I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. It looks like Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is going down on the zone. So if that's going down on the zone, I'm thinking that Jake versus Tank may also be on the zone. Hash Bass. Boxing history always has circus shows. You're right, my brother, but this time the circus show is your favorite fighter. It's Tank Davis. You don't got to point at somebody else. Tank Davis is the one going to participate in the circus show. Shaggy, I brought that up a while back, saying if he wants the bag to fight Jake Paul, not knowing it was in the making, then Davis will retire. That may actually happen. Tank Davis, he's going to get a bag for his next fight, obviously, but he's going to get a career payday to face Jake Paul. He might call it a day. He's already been talking about retirement and not fight any of the big dogs. Domingo Bonilla, I think Netflix are only looking for high viewing events. Dry Turkey, yeah, good point. Let's see how it plays out, because if Lamar Roach shakes up the world and beats Tank Davis in this rematch, which I believe it can happen, then I think Tank Davis versus Lamar Roach will fall through. Tank gotta win this fight so he could get that Jake Paul payday. Shaggy, then Davis will be the B-side. Haha. Tank Davis will be the B-side versus Jake Paul. That's crazy. I mean, he's going to be Jake Paul's event. It's going to be Jake Paul's MVP. I mean, they might make it an MVP Tank Davis promotion. I don't know how that will work out. But Jake Paul is the guy. Jake Paul is the guy making it happen. He's the guy. I'm disappointed. I'm glad that there's a lot of good boxing on the way. Y'all already know what's going down next Friday. Teofimo Lopez fighting Arnold Barboza. That's going to be a heck of a fight. Devin Haney, Jose Ramirez. That's a heck of a fight. We want to see how Devin Haney going to react to getting clipped on the chin. How is he going to bounce back after taking that beating from Ryan Garcia? We're about to find out. And then, of course, Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero. That's a heck of a fight. That's a heck of a fight, my peoples. It's going to be fireworks. I've been telling ya. Devin Haney and Jose Ramirez is going to be a showdown that I find it interesting just because I want to see how Devin Haney is going to react to getting hit. And, of course, is he going out there to box or is he going to try to trade leather with Jose Ramirez? I'm interested in seeing that. And then Arnold Barboza, he feels real confident. He feels like he could beat Teofimo Lopez. We got to see how that plays out. But Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero, I feel like a fight is going to break out in the first round. It's not going to take too long before the bombs start flying all over the place. Domingo Bonilla. Lamar Roach got to stay focused. If he let this newfound fame get to him, then Tank wins. But if Roach can keep discipline, he's good. I think Lamar Roach has a legitimate chance to win that fight. Real talk. Dry turkey. Devin might be gun shy. That's what I've been telling people, that it can happen. We don't know that yet. But we saw what happened with Adrian Broner once he took that beating to Marcos Maidana. He never became the same fighter that he was after that. Every fight, though, the narrative was always, let your hands go, AB. Let your hands go. So you could see that Broner was gun shy ever since he took that beating. Focused a lot on defending himself and not throwing many punches because he was focused on what was coming back. Let's see how Devin's going to look. We got to see it. Domingo Bonilla, the only way for Ramirez to win is to take it to Devin. If he doesn't take it to him, then he'll lose. Now, I can tell you, Jose Ramirez is a fighter. He's a pressure fighter. That is his style. He's a pressure fighter. Come forward, let his hands go. And keep this in mind, Jose Ramirez lost his last fight. Matter of fact, he lost to Arnold Barboza. Jose Ramirez lost his last fight. So he got a chip on his shoulder. He's a guy who needs this win. He needs it. And it's a win that could instantly make him, a world champion and put him back on top. So Jose Ramirez got a chip on his shoulder. He's going out to fight. He's going to give it everything he got. He's going out there trying to hurt Devin Haney. Dry turkey. Stay on the outside as far as possible using the jab. I believe if Devin Haney boxes him, that type of style where he's going to use that jab, use that footwork, use the entire ring IQ, all over the place, give him angles. If Devin Haney's going to do that fight, he's going to win. Unanimous decision, even make it look easy at times. I just don't know if that's the type of way he's going to play out because, Jose Ramirez is going to be applying that pressure. And Devin Haney, I don't know if he's going to stand in there and trade with him. We got to see. Hash Bash, I don't believe Tank will retire, just like I didn't believe Shakur will stay retired. Domingo Bonilla. And at 147, Hash Bash, I like the fact that we're talking about Tank Davis and his upcoming circus show, and you're already bringing up Shakur, finding a way to bring up Shakur. Domingo Bonilla. And at 147, Ramirez is no longer weight drained. Domingo Bonilla. I think it's 144. My bad. I thought it was at 147, to be honest. But 144, that's a good catch weight. I still want to see how it's going to play out, man. I want to see how it's going to play out. I think, Ramirez got power in both hands. And he a dangerous fighter. I thought that Devin Haney was going to pick an easier fighter for his comeback fight. Jose Ramirez is no cherry pick. I think we all understand that. Dry turkey. Who's the better trainer, you think? Tio Sr. or Bill Haney? I don't know, to be honest. It's hard for me to answer that question, and I'll tell you why. They're both fathers of very gifted athletes, and that's part of the reason why they went that far up the chain. For me to compare them, I have to see Bill Haney train another fighter and And Tio's pops also trained another fighter, bring him up and bring him to being a world champion. You know, because at the end of the day, sometimes you just have talent right there with you. And that makes it a lot easier to get to where you are. I don't know how good of a trainer he would be if you give him an amateur fighter that's just starting out. Is he going to be able to take him all the way to being a world champion? I don't know. They both got gifted sons. So I don't know. And if I would have to pick one, I will go with Bill Haney. And the reason I will go with Bill Haney is because Teofimo's pop sometimes I don't even be seeing him giving instructions. It's like he's just saying go out there and fuck him up. Fuck him up. It's like, bro, what kind of instructions are those? So if I have to pick one or the other, I'm going with Bill Haney being the better trainer. But like I said, when it's a father and son duel, I want to see if father can grab another fighter and take them all the way to the top like that. Because sometimes the main reason why they're there is because of the talent of their kid. Domingo Bonilla, I'll probably make two bets on Ramirez versus Haney. Bet one, Devin gets knocked down 2 times, then win the fight on points. And bet two is Ramirez by stoppage. I mean, I think for Jose Ramirez to win that fight, he has to get a stoppage. Or another scenario where Jose Ramirez can win. Let's say in the mid rounds he catches Devin with a nasty left hook and hurt him real bad, and Devin is not able to get his feet back under him. So he's on survival mode throughout the rest of the fight, trying not to get knocked out. You know, if he hurt him real bad early on, he could win on points. But if they're both going to be boxing in good shape, nah. I don't see Jose Ramirez having a shred of a shot of winning on points. But it's like I said, you know, Devin Haney took a nasty beating to Ryan Garcia. You know, putting aside the fact that he still got the undefeated record, but we all remember he lost the fight and the outcome was overturned. But he lost. So it's not like Devin Haney, you know, the fact that they overturned the outcome doesn't mean we forget about the beating that he took and him being dropped multiple times. I want to see how his body's going to react, how his punch reaction is going to be when he finally gets hit by Jose Ramirez. We got to see it. JJ Sendejas, Devin Haney and Jose Ramirez will fight 144-pound catchweight. Appreciate that, my brother. Oliver, I don't poke father-son trainers when they don't coach another good fighter. That's not their son. And that's what I'm saying. I want to see you, me personally, you know, because here's the deal. If you have your son and your son is gifted, athletically gifted, there's a big reason why you're able to take him all the way to the top. And there's a big reason why other fighters will be able to work with you. You'll be able to train, get sparring with certain fighters. But can you do that from scratch? Can you do that with a fighter who's not gifted, who's not talented, and you turn him into that? Can you do that? Or can you take a guy who's a good amateur fighter and take him all the way there? We got to see it. Domingo Bonilla, so that's 3 belts then. I'm not sure what 3 belts you're referring to, my brother. Oh, 3 bets. 3 bets, you mean. Hash Bass, do you think it's a must win for Devin? I mean, honestly, it's not a must win because Devin is an undefeated fighter. Taking a loss or taking a couple of losses throughout his career is not as bad as people want to make it out to be. So it's not a must win. I think if anything, Jose Ramirez needs this win more than Devin Haney. Why? Because he's coming off of a loss. And if he loses now again, 2 losses in a row, his stock is going to go like that. Just keep stumbling down. If Devin Haney loses, he's still going to be a big star. He's still going to get big fights. If Jose Ramirez loses, you don't know when he's going to get another big fight after that. So I think he needs it a lot. John Parham, definitely a must for Haney. If Haney lose, he will never be the same. You see, from that perspective, I'm with you. After what happened with him with Ryan Garcia, if he loses this fight, gets stopped or something like that, that's gonna be very damaging. But I think if it goes to the cards and he loses on a close fight, I don't think his career is over. I think he could bounce back. Hash Bass, majority of boxing is a family business. Nah, brother. How you gonna say that? There's only a few father son duels in boxing. It's not it's definitely not a family. It's not that many. I mean, there's family members in boxing doing different things, but trainer and fighter, there's not that many father son duel. Oliver, will other fighters go to stop Devin father than boxing him now? They need he can be hit and stop. Hold on. Will other fighters go to stop Devin rather than boxing him? Okay. To be honest, I think fighters have tried those tactics of being rough and going hard at Devin Haney because he's been dubbed pillow fist or pillow hands. So a lot of fighters he's faced don't respect his power. They come forward, let them hands go. So there's gonna have to be a certain level of skills for you to actually catch Devin Haney and hurt him. We saw Linares catch him with a big shot, but it was late in the fight. I think it was round number 10 or round number 11, and he hurt him. Devin Haney stumbled back into his corner, but the round ended. And I was talking about that the other day, how Devin showed his elite level skills. Once he got hurt, he started using that footwork. He started clinching. He started jabbing. That movement. And Linares was not able to land another big shot for the rest of the fight. If it would have been the average Joe, took a big shot, they would have stayed in the trade leather and got knocked out. But Devin Haney knew how to handle it. That's a certain level of skills that it takes for you to get hurt and maintain your composure and still operate in a way that you don't get hit again. That takes a certain level of skill, my people. Domingo Bonilla, Devin might be the next broker, the next Broner. I don't think so. Honestly, I don't believe. And the reason I say that is because Broner became what he became because drugs, alcohol, partying, that lifestyle. Devin Haney's never been part of that. Devin Haney he's a Muslim. And I think he's real about his faith. I've never seen Devin in any setting consuming alcohol, smoking. Devin Haney takes care of his body. So I don't think he's going to be ever in that situation that we've seen Adrian Broner. Domingo Bonilla, in terms of being scared to throw his hands. Well, that remains to be seen. We're going to find out. We're going to find out on Friday. What's Devin Haney going to be about? We're going to find out. Oliver, why do people care so much about undefeated records in boxing? In MMA, it's not so much an issue at all. They care more about quality of record. I mean, it started with the Floyd Mayweather era. Because you got to remember, Andre Ward retired undefeated. Joe Calzaghe retired undefeated. But when Floyd Mayweather retired undefeated, that's what he put out there the most. I'm undefeated. Nobody beat me. Nobody beat me. Nobody beat me. Oh, I'm the best. Nobody cracked the Vinci Code. Like Floyd Mayweather being so popular, and all he talk about is him being undefeated. That basically is what went into the next generation of boxing fans. They want to see people be undefeated. That's why as soon as somebody take a loss, oh, he's a hype job. He's a bum. He's overrated. All the crazy stuff. So this era came through with Floyd Mayweather retiring undefeated. Hash Bass. It was Devin's fault that Linares caught him like that. Devin got greedy and didn't stay to his identity. I mean, you gotta understand that was late in the fight, my brother. That was late in the fight. Devin Haney was pitching a shutout, but it's the fight game, my brother. If I'm not mistaken, it was either. I'm sure it was round number 10 or round number 11. One of those two. And you gotta understand, Hash Bash. By that point in the game, your reaction is not the same. Your legs are tired. Your arms are tired. Your movement is not the same anymore. That's it. He got caught. But what he did after he got caught, he used his faculties. He used all the tools and resources to not eat another shot like that again. Domingo Bonilla, hardcore fans are different. We can watch different fighters like Derek Chisora versus like 16 losses. You're right. You're right. Because at the end of the day, we want to watch the good fights. It's a good fight. It's gonna be a showdown. It's gonna be a slugfest, or it's gonna be a great boxing match with great ring IQ, great everything. Whatever it is, if it's a good fight, we want to watch it. We don't care about the how many losses and he lost to this guy and he lost to that guy. But that's what the casual fans are about. Listen, the casual fans are about nitpicking the details. Oh, nah, cause he lost to this dude. And he a bum. Like, imagine somebody saying that Teofimo Lopez a bum because he lost to Cambosos. Look at everything Teofimo has accomplished, and he's still in his 20s. Teofimo's not 30 years old yet. In his 20s, multiple division champion, unified champion, lineal champion, the Ring Magazine champion. And somebody's going to say that he's overrated because he lost to Cambosos. So fans would rather focus on who you lose than who you beat and what you have accomplished in your career, which is crazy work. Crazy work. But that's what the Floyd Mayweather era brought us. Once Floyd Mayweather retired undefeated, newer boxing fans, that's what they want to see. They want to see fighters be undefeated. That's why Tank Davis, look, he's going to fight Lamar Roach, and there's a possibility he's going to fight Jake Paul. Imagine that shit. Tank Davis versus Jake Paul in November. That's a circus show. Pure circus show. But Tank is trying to retire undefeated. And in order to retire undefeated, he's not going to fight any of the best. That's it. That's what it's looking like. Domingo Bonilla, I think Tio will win that fight, though. I'm surprised they gave it to Cambosos when the fight was an NYC favorite Teofimo. So, honestly, Cambosos won that fight, my brother. I saw him winning it. Yes, the later rounds, Teofimo started doing his thing when he dropped Cambosos. As a matter of fact, during those last couple of rounds, Cambosos was out there surviving. Using that footwork, that movement. He had Teo walking him down. But he got way ahead on the cards. By the time Teofimo started taking over, that's it, he needed a knockout. It was too late. And I would say what happened in that fight is that Teofimo thought that he was going to be able to blast Cambosos out of there. Came out of there swinging bombs. Boom, 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 trying to get him out of there. And Cambosos was outworking him. Those big bombs that Teofimo was letting go, they wasn't landing like that. And I remember Teofimo going to his corner and his pops talking about, get out there and fuck him up. Fuck him up. I'm like, yo, what kind of instructions are those? What kind of instructions you giving your fighter? Go fuck him up. That's exactly what he's trying to do. So, if you remember that fight, or even if you go watch it again, you're going to see that it was like, it was after the 6th round, maybe the 7th, where Teofimo actually started boxing. Like using that jab, using that movement, setting him up, giving him angles. But before that, he was just trying to blast him out of there and losing the exchanges. So by the time he started boxing, that's it. He was too far behind on the cards and he couldn't get back. Hash Bash, the first person that media talk about being undefeated was Rocky Marciano. But looking at the small weight classes, their record don't matter because everyone is good. Yeah, but you talk, but you prove my point, Hash Bass, because Rocky Marciano retired undefeated, yet the fans have never been about undefeated records until Floyd Mayweather. Nobody was ever into that. Even Andre Ward, who retired way more recently than Rocky Marciano, because we didn't even get to watch him fight. There's very little video of Rocky Marciano, but Andre Ward, we could see a bunch of his fights right now on YouTube. He retired undefeated. And that was never a big thing. That was never something that, oh, you gotta retire undefeated. You can't lose, and if you lose, we're gonna discredit you. That started with the Mayweather era. The moment Floyd retired undefeated, fans want to see undefeated fighters. They want to only support undefeated fighters. Domingo Bonilla, supposedly Teofimo was sick. His mother wanted him to go to the hospital, but Teo said no. So Teo wanted to end the fight early, but it didn't work his way. Now look, Teofimo had a lot going on in his personal life at that time. You know, his mom's had health issues. At that time, he was also going through personal situations with his ex-wife. I think they divorced already, and he was going through it in his personal life. But still, you know, he was trying to blast Cambosos out of there. It didn't work out. By the time he started to box, it was too late. He fell far behind on the cards. I think if they do a rematch at 140, Teofimo will put the beats on George Cambosos. JJ's in the house. Jay Smith, I have to go take care, everyone. Appreciate you dropping in, my brother. You already know. Have a good one. Hash Bass. It's a lot of fighters retired undefeated, but they weren't as big as Mayweather's. I mean, not a lot, relatively speaking. It's quite a few. You know, but when you say a lot, it's like what, 6, 7 fighters maybe a little bit more. I don't know, but it's not a lot. You know, you can't say it's 50 fighters, 100 fighters. It's a few fighters who retired undefeated, but that was never a thing. You know, you could lose, and that didn't mean that you were a hype job. That didn't mean that you were a bum. That whole narrative started after Floyd left. Because all these other fighters, they retired undefeated, and after them we saw fighters lose and nobody saw issue with it. You lose, you fight again. That's it. No big deal. But after Floyd Mayweather, that's when it started that if you lose, you're a hype job. If you lose, you're a bum. If you lose, oh, look at the guy that you lost to. That only started after Floyd. People wasn't doing that before. Look how you could see that it started after Floyd. That people went all the way back to Muhammad Ali to mention the fighters that he lost to. Look at Ali. He lost to this guy. And he lost to that guy. Meanwhile, the people from that era who watched Ali fight live, you know, whether it was in person or on TV, none of them used to say, oh, nah, because Ali lost to this fighter with this many wins and losses. None of them said that. Growing up, I never heard that shit. I just see people see him as the GOAT because of all the things he accomplished. But the haters, nah, yo, Ali lost to a guy that had this many fights. He was overrated. Because people don't know shit about boxing. That's why Floyd Mayweather's uncle came up with a phrase that will never go away. People don't know shit about boxing. But most people think they do. Domingo Bonilla, what you thought about Eubank Jr. versus Ben? I thought it was an amazing fight and lived up to the hype. 100%, my brother. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Ben is one of those fights that goes down in history. You know, like 20 years from now, 30 years from now, people will still be watching that fight. That fight will be on ESPN Classic. People will always talk about it as one of the biggest fights between UK fighters. And you know, there's history there. Their parents fought each other first. Now the sons get to fight each other. I hear there's gonna be a rematch, so they might actually do an immediate rematch in September. That would be crazy. But the fight lived up to the expectation. They gave us an instant classic, my brother. Facts. My peoples, I'm about to end this live. Before I do, I want to give a shout out to everybody who showed up. Damn, 19 likes, man. I needed one more like, my people. One more. I just needed one more like to get to 20. But I want to give a shout out, man, to everybody who came through to tap in with me. Y'all already know what it is, man. We're gonna keep talking boxing. We're gonna keep doing what we do. Tomorrow, we're gonna be talking about Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez. Is anybody going to be upset on Friday? Do all the favorites win? We got to talk about it. And of course, Saturday, a day after that, Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull. So we got 4 big fights. Are all the favorites going to win? We'll be talking about that tomorrow. Let's see it. Let's see it, my people. It's going to be some real boxing talk. But again, my peoples, shout out to everybody who tuned in. I'm out of here. Y'all already know what it is, man. I'm Jay Smith. This is Box Center, your favorite boxers, favorite boxing show. See you tomorrow, my people. Salute to everybody. Bam. Peace.